Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to another video where I just, draw stuff. And one of my videos I was, asked to make a Zim drawing, and I'm not the best at drawing, so I gave it my best shot. Now, while we're on the topic of Zim, can we talk about how Dim and Gaz might be Irking hybrids? So what if the biggest secret in Invader Zim wasn't actually Zim himself? Because everybody knows, obviously the viewers know, that he's an alien. What if the real alien was actually Dib, or his father, or his sister? So let's talk about it, right? Now, for years, fans have had a theory that Dib's membrane and Gaz's membrane, and maybe even the Professor membrane himself, are secretly connected to the Irkens. And honestly, the deeper you look, the weirder it gets. Think about it. Out of every human on Earth, Dib is the only one obsessed with exposing Zim. Not just suspicious of him, obsessed. Now everybody, ignores the green skin. Obviously, he always uses eyes like those fake eyes to cover his actual glowing eyes. But of course, his obvious, alien-like behaviors are kind of odd. But yet again, when you look at the show, everybody's kind of odd in a way. But Dib instantly always recognizes it. The more you look at them and you zoom into them, the more you realize that they're pretty similar and it's hard to ignore. Both socially isolated, both obsessive, both desperate to prove themselves, and both seem as insane as the other. And the show constantly frames them as this mirrored rivals. Not human versus alien, but almost like two members of the same species fighting amongst each other. Like the two brothers, like the tall aliens that control the smaller aliens from the Irken race. But then let's talk about Dib's father, Professor Membrane, one of the tallest characters in the entire show. This thin-bodied, massive goggles, thin eyes, barely any visible ears, just like, the tallest members of the Irken race. And somehow his design is closer to an Irken than most humans do. Fans especially compare him to the tallest. Here's where things get suspicious. Professor Membrane is supposedly Earth's greatest scientist, yet he never recognizes him as an alien. He always tosses it off as something. He always gives excuses. Everything is an excuse. Like, he always finds some other reasoning for why things are happening when they involve him and Zim. Why really? Well, some fans think that he's just arrogant, but he's just choosing to ignore it because he has his own agenda, taking over the Earth. And let me say that he's pretty much gotten there. He has everybody wrapped around his thumb. They're drinking his drinks, they're using his technology, and he has found a way to basically manipulate the situation when it comes to the humans. But let's talk about Gaz. Gaz isn't exactly normal either, Now, Gaz honestly acts less human than half the aliens in the show. She barely reacts emotionally. She's weirdly resistant to fear. Even Zim gets intimidated by her sometimes. And unlike normal humans, Gaz almost seems comfortable around alien chaos. But the biggest clue from one specific moment fans never stop talking about is the squiggly scooch. The moment is the squiggly spooch moment where Zim gets hit in the gut. Dib says that, hey, no, humans don't have a squiggly spooch, and then Gaz comes back and says that she has one. Kind of weird, right? Because why would a human have an Irken anatomy? Now, yes, this could have absolutely just been a random absurd humor, because a lot of the creators love to throw a nonsense into the show, but fans notice something important. The series constantly mixes comedy with hidden lore. Some people started asking, was this actually a joke, or was the show quietly hinting that Gaz and maybe Dib too aren't fully human, or more of hybrids? Now, the Membrane family feels disconnected from humanity. The house is filled with impossible technology. The kids are unusually independent. There's almost no mention of a mother, and the Professor Membrane somehow builds inventions beyond normal human science. Some fans believe he reverse engineered Irken tech. He's a disguised Irken, or the membranes are hybrids without fully realizing it. And honestly, in the world of Invader Zim, none of that feels impossible. Because if the mother is never shown, him being a professor, him being an alien, could have easily taken human DNA from some random person and mixed it with his Irken DNA and creating, obviously, his kids. Now, to be fair, there's no official confirmation this theory is true. The show never outright says Dib or Gaz are hybrids, and a lot of the evidence is circumstantial. The exaggerated character designs could just be the show's art style. The squiggly spooch line could just be a random comedy bit, because we all know there's probably like so many different Irken sayings or Irken catchphrases that he could have used, and maybe that's just one of them that he had, in the chamber. And Dib's obsession with Zim could simply be because he's the only smart kid on Earth. But even then, the theory refuses to die, because the parallels are just too intentional. Rather, Dib is secretly part Irkens. The show clearly wants us to see him and Zim as reflections of each other. Two outsiders, two obsessed weirdos, both trying to desperately prove that they matter. And maybe that's the real point of the series, but still, the squiggly spooch thing is really suspicious, and I'm gonna stand on that hill. So what do you think? Is the member family secretly connected to the Irkens? Or are fans just overly analyzing one of the weirdest cartoons ever made? Also very beloved, because I love Invader Zim. And if you guys want to see me draw another character, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best, give you guys a somewhat good drawing of it. And I see you guys in the next video. Later.
I have a mighty need!